Hi, everyone, and welcome to Episode 7 of PLASTICAST, the Pacific Northwest Consortium on Plastics podcast. I'm your host, John Dickens. I'm a grad student at Oregon State University, and I study microplastics and their impact on marine ecosystems. I must say, it has been an exciting and terrifying week here in Corvallis, Oregon, even more so for our colleagues down in California. We've seen a lot of action from wildfire smoke and the COVID-19 pandemic, and our hearts here at the consortium go out to our friends and family affected by the fires across the entire West Coast. These mega fires are sparking more discussion around climate change. Being cooped up indoors while we watched our beloved wilderness and communities burn, people are feeling called to action. This call to action is encouraged this week by Corvallis Climate Action Alliance, which is a coalition of clubs, organizations, and community members concerned about the climate crisis and what it means for our future. Action Week feels very appropriate after living in an apocalyptic sunset for an entire week. Waste reduction is an important component of the discussion around climate action. Reducing carbon and greenhouse gas emissions from energy consumption and municipal waste incinerators are very few important big picture actions that we can take. But what can we do in our daily lives? Joining me today to answer that question is Lauri Richer, creator of Green Girl, a local initiative dedicated to zero waste by providing reusable tableware for groups of up to 300. Thanks so much for joining us today, Lauri.
Thank you for having me.
Lauri, this is an amazing service that you offer. I often see discarded cutlery and plasticware on my commute to work and around densely populated areas like the OSU campus or downtown. Could you talk a little bit about the impetus for starting Green Girl and discuss a little bit more in depth about the services you offer?
I'd be happy to. So started about 4 years ago or more, and I was just out walking with a friend, and we were talking about people having parties, and there was really no alternative to if you were having a party of 20 or 40 or more of not using disposable items. And I said to my friend, somebody should do this. And then as I came out of my mouth, I said, why don't I do this? So then I just started collecting, and then I kind of put it out there into the Sustainability Coalition, told them what I was doing, and they sent it out on their listserv. And slowly, very slowly, over the course of a year or so, I got more and more people contacting me and asking to use the tableware, which was great. I think my biggest month was, I want to say, about 33 events, anywhere from 20 people to 300 people, depending on the event.
How much does it cost to use Green Girl's tableware services?
This is a free service. I wanted to make sure that there was no cost involved because I didn't want to. Well, one, I don't need the money. I work. My husband was working at the time when I started, so I don't need the money. And two, I didn't want to have any stumbling block in between somebody saying, well, you're charging $10. I can go over to Fred Meyer's and buy 200 paper plates for 50 cents or whatever it is. So I didn't want to give anybody a reason not to use it. It is, when you are having larger events, it is work. It is a lot easier to use paper plates and disposable ware, and at the end of your party, just throw everything away. But I hear time and again from the people who use Green Girl that they are so excited at the end of an event, whether it's their kid's birthday party or, I've done weddings, I've done funerals, I've done, birthday parties and baby showers, and everything that you can think of. And people feel so good about not creating that waste after an event. And it just kills my soul to use plastic. And so it makes me feel really good that I'm offering this service. And when I first started, people said, people won't take you seriously unless you charge something. And I've been able to keep it at no charge. People can make donations, and I try to dissuade that because I don't need money, and I figure they probably need it more than I do. But if they're really insistent, then I ask them to make a donation to the Sustainability Coalition, or some other nonprofit.
Do people donate plasticware to you?
I try to discourage it because I have so much and I only have so much room in my house. I have, over the few years, had to turn away probably maybe half a dozen people because I had so many other events going on. So I'm tempted to get more, but I don't really want to because I don't want to store it. And now I have everything, because the hope is that most of the stuff will be out and being used. What happens is sometimes people think, oh, you know, Green Girl probably want this, and then they give me like 4 huge bowls that they probably bought at the dollar store and don't want it. So I don't really need anything. So I have an instruction sheet that I send out with each email and each order, and it says on there, please do not donate. So.
Well, if you're out there and you're listening, do not donate those 4 bowls you got from the Goodwill. You hear me? But that's really great, Lauri.
I don't want to be a plastic snob, but I just got more than I can take here.
I hear you. So where can I go to sign up for Green Girl, or to see what's available, or to make a reservation? Where can I do that?
Email. I have little business cards with my email address. I'm on Facebook. It's a community page for Green Girl. Phone number. The easiest is the email, because then I can send the order form, which has, you know, because you say you need plates. Well, I have dessert plates, I have snack plates, and I have dinner plates. So you can't just say I need plates. So there can be some very specific information, and when do you want to pick up, and when do you want to drop off, and all those kinds of things. So there's quite a bit of information on the order form that I send out.
So Lauri, besides using Green Girl at my kiddo's birthday or at my 300-person dinner party, do you recommend other actions that I might take in order to reduce waste daily?
I'm so glad you asked that question. Yes, there are so many small things that we as individual consumers can do. I'm just going to mentally kind of go through my house and mention some of the things that I do. So we use cloth napkins, cloths in the kitchen. I actually cut up old t-shirts and things like that and use them as tissue, and then you just throw it in the laundry. I make my own laundry detergent. So I think there's just 3 ingredients, and you can buy those in boxes at like Winco or something. There's, I think one of them is borax, another one is called, I can't remember what it's called, but it's just a box in a paper box that you can buy. And then you take soap shavings, and those 3 ingredients are my laundry detergent. So I'm not buying any kind of plastic tub of any kind. I'm using an old glass jar of pickles when I make it. So I shop at the co-op, and they have a huge selection of bulk items. So unfortunately, it used to be that you could go and bring your own container, and that has stopped. But you can get flour and grains and nuts and that in paper bags, and then as soon as I get home, I transfer it into a glass jar. So you're eliminating a lot of waste by buying in bulk. I recently switched to box wine because I checked with somebody, and it's actually easier on the environment to have your, even though there's a plastic liner inside the box wine, think about how heavy the bottles are, and then think about the gasoline in the transport of those bottles. So not only is it more cost effective, but it's a lot less waste. All those glass bottles, yes, they are recyclable, but there is a lot of energy used to recycle them. I'm not much on buying clothes, but if I do, I buy them at the Goodwill or the thrift stores or yard sales. we go to Habitat for Humanity to buy things for the yard. Our trash bag sits there for weeks and weeks and weeks, and there's just hardly any trash going out, and that feels good. I have a couple more if you have time.
Yeah, let's go for it. Yeah.
I just learned this new one, which I'm very excited about, because I always felt terrible about buying dental floss in those plastic things, and it's a one-time use, and I'm like, I just can't do this anymore. There's got to be, and I found out that the Co-op and Market of Choice, and I'm sure there's other places that sell dental floss in a non-plastic container. It's in a cardboard container, so that's very exciting for me. And then I also make my own deodorant, because the deodorant that you can buy comes in a plastic container, and you can make your own deodorant, which you can put in a plastic container, or you can just, use your fingers and put it on that way. So I am slowly eliminating plastic from my life.
Thank you so much for your time today, Lauri.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for your interest and for trying to help microplastics stay out of our wildlife.
And thank you so much for providing our communities with an alternative to disposable single-use plastic products. And thank you, listeners, for catching the 7th episode of PLASTICAST, the Pacific Northwest Consortium on Plastics podcast. Tune in for bi-weekly episodes as we explore the world of plastic pollution, research, and policy. Find us on Instagram and Twitter at Pacific Northwest Microplastics. I'm your host, John Dickens. Have a great week and stay safe, West Coast.